Alright, so we need to talk about Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse because this is the third and final movie in the trilogy, and this marks the conclusion of Miles Morales and his journey, and especially throughout the last movie, Across the Spider-Verse ended things off really big, and now especially with so many updates coming back and forth of what's been going on behind the scenes, especially with Sony and whatever the heck they are doing. But even though with this major update that I'm about to talk about right here, and with everything that we know so far, is this movie ever coming out? Because that's the question that us, the fans, have been wondering as well. So that's what I'm right down here, right now. And so if you're new, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future vids. But now, let's get into it. And now, if we know Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that was released back in 2023, and it goes to almost 700 million worldwide, and this was my favorite Spider-Man movie, and especially as it capitalizes on Miles Morales' journey, especially for what he is experiencing, for how they can continue his story in like a brand new way. Because especially with him and what that movie establishes, it is with him trying to join a society of other Spider-Man, of these Spider variants, and especially with Spider-Man 2099, that was like the real threat, and he was like planning to destroy his world, but especially with Spy, like I think like the main villain, and especially like I really enjoyed that movie as well. That was the follow-up from Into the Spider-Verse, and even though with Across the Spider-Verse that ended on like a big cliffhanger that had Miles Morales threatened by like another variant of his, and that just made me want it even more, because especially towards the end of that film, that's what got the fans really excited about the conclusion to this trilogy, because Miles is in danger, and Spider-Man 2099 is like a threat, and he's like the king of that universe as well. So especially with Miles' world, that it is threatened, and he has to find like some way to defeat them or something like that. But even with Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, and it's gotten through so much hell, like, because especially like so much development back and forth, and especially coming from each the actors, like they haven't started recording their lines. But especially with this update today, that's coming from, especially from the actor that plays Miles G. Morales, the variant, and the actor that plays him, and that he has said they haven't even started recording their lines. And that's like a real disappointing update to me, because even though that we were supposed to get the conclusion, the third movie last year in 2024, and even though I mean, how are they gonna end Miles Morales' story and the conclusion to this animated Spider-Verse trilogy? Because I really enjoyed Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, the follow-up, but especially with Beyond the Spider-Verse, that's supposed to be the big finale and cliffhanger. But even with the things that I am definitely worried about, because I thought they were gonna get things in like full swing. I thought like, oh, we're in the new year 2025, I'm hoping I can get things rolling. But now it's just kind of like even worse, because especially what happened with behind the scenes for Across the Spider-Verse, because the animators were working like overtime and being like underpaid, underappreciated, and they were like being hard and like over work hours. So it was a lot of behind the scenes drama, especially with the animation and Across the Spider-Verse, that looks spectacular to me, and especially for how it presented itself to be like some of the greatest animation that we've ever seen, especially from Sony Animation and with the animated Spider-Verse trilogy. But even though with Beyond the Spider-Verse, there were things like I think that were scrapped, like things that were gonna be placed into the movie that they want to get rid of. So it's been through behind the scenes a lot. But even with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I think that they're pretty much going to do everything that they can to get this third and final movie up and swinging. And aside from the other update that we got at the end of last year in 2024, that with Bob Persichetti and Justin Thompson are tapped to direct the third and final movie Beyond the Spider-Verse, especially after Phil Lord and Chris Miller departed from the project. But even with this team that are so thrilled to be telling the story, but even of why they would announce at the end of last year, but since we gotten so many updates back and forth, and why they haven't started it yet, and I think that's gonna take a while. I mean, they haven't recorded their lines, and even though I think they're working on early concept in animation, it tells me it might be in a good spot, but I don't know it. And if you think about it, with Spider-Man 4 that is going to be released in July of 2026, and they want to get things rolling on that. They're going into production this year in 2025, I think in the summer. But it's especially as with the reports that have come out that there have been script issues with what they want to include, because even though with Spider-Man 4 that's also been in that stage of getting it developed as well. And this is focusing on the Tom Holland Spider-Man outing in the MCU, continuing the next trilogy with our MCU's Peter Parker. And I think, I mean, Sony is going through so much right now behind the scenes, because especially as they ended their Sony Spider-Man universe of spin-off characters, because of the final movie that was Craven. I'm guessing I don't know what to think anymore. But I just hope that with Beyond the Spider-Verse that the movie gets made, or the actors can start recording their lines, and I'm hoping that they don't rush things, especially with the animation. It takes a long time to even make or even assemble and to put together, especially in post-production. And because across the Spider-Verse, that was the longest movie in the trilogy. I mean, I think so, and that was the longest runtime ever, because the animation takes a lot of work. And people were really impressed by that. I was so mine as well. It looks brilliant in IMAX as well. But even with everything that we got in terms of Spider-Man content, I just want to see the conclusion to Miles' journey so badly. With the actors, they can make it to the recording booth to do their lines. And I mean, I don't know. It's just gonna take a long time, because. And as for me, I don't see it coming out in 2026 or 2027, or if they can get the ball rolling, I guess in 2028. And I don't know, if there's a release date set in stone, because guess what? I think it was supposed to come out this year, but even the year before that, it was supposed to come out, especially as development started to happen. And it's just a very strange time for this movie right now, because as we've been getting all sorts of updates, and I think we're gonna have to wait and see for what the outcome is, and how they're gonna have Miles Morales placed in live action in the MCU and have his debut entered in that, for setting up for more projects down the line and taking on the mantle, or being aside Tom Holland's Peter Parker as well, and have Miles Morales join. And I think that's going to happen sometime soon down the road. But even with, I think, Amy Pascal, who is also from Sony and the Marvel Studios title banner, and that she has said that with Miles Morales, when he's going to debut after the Spider-Verse trilogy, after the third and final movie that is the conclusion, I think we're definitely going to experience that more. But again, it's going to take time. I mean, patience is key, and I think we can all hit on everything, right? Because I think we'll definitely have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, this is a sad update and really sad news. I mean, even to answer the question to me, I think it is coming out, but I don't know if it'll ever or will. But hey, it's gotta come out at some point in time, and I hope that they don't rush things. I hope that they don't rush the movie, because because guess what? It takes time in post-production to get things like this done, especially in animation for a Sony Marvel movie that is related to the character of Spider-Man as well. But that's going to do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below, and what are your thoughts on this, and if you're waiting for Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third and final movie in this trilogy with Miles Morales, and what do you think of this sad news, and do you think if it's ever coming out? Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on notifications about future videos. Also follow all my social medias, always linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.